ladies and gentlemen. He's a child of God, a husband, NRA conservative, radical right-wing supervillain, and Twitter rock star. American by birth, Texan by choice, and a badass by nature. He's the owner of TomO'Halloran.com, O'HalloranMedia.com, and PatriotRadio.net. Please welcome Tom O'Halloran.
There ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
And good morning, America. This is the Patriot Radio Show, and I am your host, Tom O'Halloran. And I'm broadcasting today from my underground bunker deep in Arkansas, Nebraska. And I'm here to educate, irritate, and agitate. And today we got some great news for you. Got a special guest. Our good friend Ken Crow will be joining us in just a couple of moments. We're going to be sharing some breaking news for you. You will hear it here before you hear it on the big TV box. Again, my name is Tom O'Halloran. My primary blog being TomO'Halloran.com. When you get there, please be sure to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Spreaker, any other social media that you fancy. Also, please follow my editor, Veronica Coffin. Veronica manages several websites on our network, and without her doing that, I wouldn't be able to do this. You'll find her follow button at the bottom of each and every post. I'm on air 5 days a week, folks, so if you're not listening 5 times a week, you're missing out. Please tune in every Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. Texas time for this, the Patriot Radio Show. On Fridays, same bat time, same bat channel, I do Jihad on America, where I cover the Islamists in America. I tell you who they are, what they want, and why you should be afraid. If you did not catch my show on the Muslim Brotherhood, my show Islam is Not a Religion, or my show on Islamophobia, then please find your way to PatriotRadioshow.com and listen to all 3 of these shows. They will give you insight and perspective on the topic that you've probably not heard elsewhere. They'll also give you a solid foundation upon which we build each and every Friday as we continue to pull back the mask of Islam, looking at what's being done in the name of Allah, both here and abroad. And I do the news about Islam around the world because it's a glimpse into the future of what's in store for us here in America if we continue to allow the cancer of Islam to spread here in the homeland. Keep abreast of my shows, listen to the live stream, as well as catch up on any archives you may have missed, all at PatriotRadioshow.com. I need to add a few more paragraphs to this because I know Ken Crow loves sitting on hold listening to my lengthy intro. And with that, I'm going to bring him straight in. We got some great news for us today. Ken, are you with me, brother?
Hello, brother.
Hey.
It is 6 balmy degrees, a 20-mile-an-hour wind out of the north, and it is snowing.
Wait a minute, 6 degrees positive?
Yeah, it's plus 6
Oh,
today.
my word.
But we have a minus 15 or 20 chill factor, though.
Yeah, but you guys are tough. Break out the copper tone, man. It's in the positive numbers.
No, it's got to be at least 25 or 30 to break out the copper tone.
So, I hear the campaign for presidency is taking a big...
It is just, I tell you what, the Donald Trump campaign by 8 o'clock tonight will have poured about 3 gallons of jet fuel into it and shot it full of steroids. I don't know. This thing is fixing to blow up today. It is. The news I have for you, Tom, is, as Donald would say, you.
Let me take a guess. The Black Lives Matter group is endorsing Donald Trump.
No.
The Council on Islamic American Relations is endorsing Donald Trump.
No. But good guess.
No. Illegal aliens are endorsing Donald Trump.
No, not that either.
Man, I'm out of guesses. Why don't you just bring us up to date?
Okay. I received a phone call. The way all this got started, I got a text this morning at 6:07 a.m. from Politico, from the reporter at Politico. He said, Ken, can you verify this? I said, no. But if it's true, this election's over. He texted back and said, you're right. It is. So, made a couple phone calls. Then he calls me about, well, you and I were talking on the phone when he called me. And he said, Ken, it's true. I said, really? You're kidding. He said, nope. She was spotted at the airport last night getting off a plane from Anchorage, Alaska. Sarah Palin is endorsing Donald Trump.
Wow.
Now, let me tell you how big this is. For those of you that are unfamiliar with Iowa politics, all of the pundits have said for the last several weeks since Ted Cruz supposedly took the lead in Iowa that he could win the nomination now. Because coming out of Iowa, his fundraising would go way up, and he would do well. He didn't have to do that well, but he could just do okay in New Hampshire. He would come in probably second in South Carolina, and the race would be on. Donald Trump just stripped him of that.
Yeah.
Because Sarah Palin in Iowa, ladies and gentlemen, walks on water. She is like an adopted, and one of the reasons why, there is a lady here in Des Moines, Iowa, that's an heiress to one of the great fortunes in America, and she's part of that clan. And she was Barbara Bush's chief of staff for like 8 years or 12 years. When Barbara was the second lady of the nation, she was her chief of staff. Then when they became president, she became chief of staff in the White House for Barbara. And she is a heavyweight political guru for the Republican Party, right? And there's an old saying that if you want to run for president, all roads lead to Becky's house in Des Moines. You have to get Becky's approval to run for president on a Republican ticket in Iowa if you want to run. And so everybody goes to Becky's house, gets Becky's blessing, and then they can run for president, right?
Wow.
So, and she's that powerful, okay? Well, she is best friends with Sarah Palin. And this dear friendship started years ago. And there's no doubt in my mind that this is true. There's none. Chances are she stayed at Becky's house last night. I mean, she stays there all the time. Becky's got a big mansion in Des Moines, and with gates and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So she probably stayed there. Wouldn't surprise me a bit. But anyway, that's the news. And when Becky gives her blessing, it's over. And Sarah is here. Sarah's on the ground. There's no other reason for Sarah to be in Des Moines today. No other reason at all, except the fact that Donald's here. And this morning, Donald is picking up here in a little while the support of the Wayne family, John Wayne's family, which is big. And the fact that they're going to tie him to John Wayne, he's America's new John Wayne, political John Wayne and all that. And Sarah's here to endorse him and give a big speech on his behalf at Iowa State University tonight. And this thing's over with.
Wow.
Because Trump will win Iowa now big. He'll win big. He's going to crush New Hampshire and South Carolina and Nevada. So I don't see any recovery for Ted Cruz at this point. I really don't. I don't see it because he's going to run out of money.
Yeah. That's huge. Wow.
So, congratulations, everybody. Say hello to President Trump.
That's massive.
There's your pathway to victory. All he's got to do.
And
I got in a fight with a dear friend of mine this morning that's a big Trump supporter. I said he needs to be quiet. He needs to stop. He doesn't need to even address these other candidates now. He's so far out in the lead. He needs to be focusing on Hillary and Bernie. Hillary and Bernie. Everything out of his mouth needs to be anti-Obama, Hillary and Bernie. He doesn't need to even talk about.
Just own it.
Yeah, just own it. I mean, he's a presumptive nominee. Let's run with it.
Yeah, no, I like that. And what a powerful call. Let the others fight against each other. Just rise above it and go against the Dems.
Yeah. Well, she met with Donald here. It wasn't long before he announced. She went to New York and ate pizza with him, and remember all that?
Yeah.
And she's been a Donald fan for a while, so this doesn't surprise me.
No.
And let me tell you, she just to give you an idea, a few years ago she endorsed 72 candidates running for Congress, Senate, and so on and so forth.
Right, like 65 of them, right?
56 were elected, and all those 56 were behind in the polling when she endorsed.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, massive numbers.
She's got a 70-something% close ratio with underdogs. that's huge.
That's good with a margin of error candidate, but when you get into endorsing the underdogs, wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's it's stunning.
Yep.
Stunning.
So there's your big news for the day. I hope it comes to pass, but obviously there's no way to verify all this. Nobody's talking, but all of the indicators are there that this is what's happening.
Sure.
There's no other reason for Sarah to be on the ground in Des Moines today. None whatsoever.
Yeah, there's no other candidates there. It's not like Cruz's.
There's no other candidates here today. No other Republican candidates in the area today. And I can't, and it's snowing. It's bitterly cold. So I can't think of any other reason for her to be here.
Yeah.
Then I'm getting calls from Politico on top of that. So it's, and I'm sure I'll be getting more here in a little while.
Yeah. Now, how far is Ames from where you're at?
About an hour and a half.
Okay. Are you still planning on being up there, or it's kind of late for you to leave, isn't it, to make it there for the...
No, Ames is tonight.
Well, I thought it was...
We've got a full-scale snowstorm coming in this afternoon.
Perfect.
I'm not going to... I don't need to go up there. I've seen Sarah a dozen times.
No.
I've seen Donald a dozen times.
Not for Sarah, but for the Wayne family event.
Oh, no. I don't need... I'm not going up there. I'm not going to stand out in the cold and get frostbite.
I thought you were going to hold up your microphone and let us broadcast it live.
Well, I would, but... You know, the wind's blowing, and it's...
I put a new shirt on for this.
Tom, your Tommy Bahama shirt does not help me in Winterset, Iowa, in a snowstorm.
But it ought to give you a warm feeling knowing that I've got a nice, clean Tommy Bahama shirt on.
Well, I'm going to call my buddy over at the Washington Times now and visit with him about this. And give him a heads up.
All right, brother.
He'll be excited.
You got my number, and I missed your call earlier. I was sitting here doing show prep, but I didn't recognize your number. Usually it comes up and says Iowa or something. So when you called in the first time, like about 7:30, I missed it. But when you called the second time, I said, I think that's my buddy Ken. Because usually you call at the right time, and I just reach over and pick it up knowing that it's you. So when it called in early... I didn't associate it with you and just thought it was some sales call or something. So, all right, brother. Listen, love you for the updates. All
You
right.
betcha. I'll keep them coming, sir, when I get them.
All right, brother. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye now.
Well, folks, that is it. That is the latest scoop. With, in all likelihood, Sarah Palin will be endorsing Donald Trump tonight, which will be a massive steroid shot in the campaign. Huge, huge news. And I promise you some big news, Catherine up in Midland. I hope that fiddles the bill for you. That's massive. Hugely huge. Okay, we're not doing an all-political show today. We're doing some news and stuff, which is why Ken has moved on to his other stuff. Where did that come from? Okay. All right, so we've got some stories, some news to bring you. We're going to bring it in just a minute. Let me do this. Let me go pay some bills. And when we come back, we're going to talk about Walmart. We're going to talk about the Oscars. We're going to talk about a whole bunch of good stuff. So stick around. We got a whole lot to talk about. But have another breakfast teeny on me, celebrating Donald Trump's massive shot in the arm today. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Home invasions are on the rise. Money is tight, but your alarm and cameras are not enough. Stop them before they get in. Armor City Doors has your solution. A simple kit that you could self-install. It will have you protected in an hour. No matter what kind of door you currently have, this will work. Even if you live in an apartment, you can protect yourself and your family. Prices starting at just $69, depending, of course, on your door. And you can have kick-proof protection to your home. Professional installation is available. Get peace of mind that is real. Call Jenny today, 713-487-5539, 713-487-5539, or go to Armor City Door. No matter where you live in Texas, you can have an Armor City Door.
Webgoats.com. Hello again, my little Muslim holy warriors. This is your mama told you, Konmene. And after a killer day of holy war, you just need to relax a little while maintaining your Islamic purity. Even if you have a wife, you don't want to have to listen to her after all the stress of fighting the infidels. And when there are no little boys to booger, and there is no woman, it's time for you to go to webgoats.com. Our goats are so fine, you will not even want a woman if there is one. Try Nanny. She can't wait to meet a smelly cave dweller like you, or our newest favorite for all you infidel killers, the Thompson twins. You can't find hot goats like this just anywhere. You can only find them at webgoats.com. And if you happen to be tied up right now, or just locked up in some infidel's prison, do not worry. We have the new goat cams for the virtual experience. These goats are certified to be pure for you. And let's be honest, with goats like these, you may never want to be with a disgusting woman ever again. Webgoats.com.
The Lion and Rose Restaurant and British Pub is the after-work destination. The happy hour is very serious. Decisions have to be made, like what scrumptious appetizer are you going to order? They serve a wide selection of delectable British and American entrees at the Lion and Rose, San Antonio's favorite pub, and check out their lunch specials. Pub trivia and karaoke nights means fun for all, and you can get catering for any event. 4 Alamo City locations: Stone Oak, Alamo Heights, Park North, and Forum. The Lion and Rose Restaurant and British Pub. TheLionandRose.com.
How many of your photos, memories, music, and irreplaceable documents are stored on your computer? My guess is you probably have a lot. If you don't regularly back up your computer files, you are only one hard drive crash, one forgetful moment, or one accident away from losing your computer files forever. Backing up your files onto CDs or flash drives is a good idea, but who really has the time to do it on a regular basis? Plus, what would happen if your computer and your backups are in the same place at the wrong time? Want to know what the best way to back up your computer files is? The answer is easy. Let My PC Backup do it for you. My PC Backup is a small desktop application that automatically backs up all of your files to a schedule chosen by you. It takes a copy of your files, encrypts them, and sends them to our high-tech data centers via a secure 256-bit SSL connection. My PC Backup gives you the option to sync files between multiple computers. You can view your synced or backed up files at any time and from any location by logging into the web-based control panel. If disaster does strike, there is no need to panic. You can easily retrieve all of your files in just a few clicks by using the Restore feature on your desktop application. So sign up to My PC Backup today and see how reassuring it is to have all of your files automatically backed up, simply, safely, and securely.
At Groupon, we believe the best things in life come to those who search. To the everyday explorers. To those who leave no stone unturned. We believe in discoveries, both big and small. Your new favorite sushi bar. Your morning yoga class. The flight lesson you never thought you'd take. The local business you might never have found. And that's why Groupon makes it easy to find and save on the things you do every day. With a new way to search and thousands of the best deals to search for. When you want to do or buy just about anything, anywhere, anytime, don't sit back and wait for it. Check Groupon first.
Tom O'Halloran.
We'll put a boot in your ass. It's the American way. All brought to you courtesy of the red, white, and blue. Of my red, white, and blue.
And we are back. It's the Tuesday edition of the Patriot Radio Show. I'm your host, Tom O'Halloran. And we just covered in our first block, if you just missed it, we got a new guest in the chat room, Jane Smith, my dear friend. This evening, Sarah Palin will be making an announcement in Ames, Iowa. She flew in last night. She's expected to endorse Donald Trump. If indeed this is what is happening, and all indications say that it is, they are friends, they have met together previously. Donald Trump is in Ames today. Everything points to the fact that she is going to endorse Donald Trump, and if she does that, the campaign is pretty much over. With Sarah Palin on board, Iowa is in the bag. They love Sarah Palin in Iowa. They love the fact that Sarah backs underdogs more often than not and brings them up to be a winning candidate. And with her on board, Trump just cleans the slate in Iowa, in New Hampshire, South Carolina. Huge news. You heard it here first. Nobody is talking about this yet. I got it from my good friend Ken Crow, who was with us just minutes ago. Shifting gears, though. Shifting gears. Let's talk about Walmart. Let's talk about the minimum wage. Remember the protests last summer? And they've continued on as well. I mean, all these leftists and progressives, the busing in of people. They weren't even employees that are protesting at the Walmart stores. Different unions are busing these people in to protest for higher wages, demanding a $15 an hour wage, up from $7. Who gets a 100% pay raise? Well, that's what they're asking for these idiots. Demanding a 50% pay raise. In addition to that, demanding minimum hours of 40 hours, which means not only does Walmart have to pay $15 an hour, but it also has to cover them completely in medical care. Demanding all sorts of crap. Well, guess what? Walmart just shut down 2 stores in Washington, D.C. 2 stores that they were going to build. There's already 3 stores in existence, but they're not performing very well, especially since the $11 an hour raise that went into effect on the 1st. But it's expected to go to 15 come November. And you know after that it'll be 17 and 19. Washington Post covered the story. It painted Walmart as being the bad guys. The headline screams, district leaders furious that Walmart is breaking the promise to build the stores in poor neighborhoods. So it sounds like Walmart's the bad guys, right? 12 paragraphs down, they finally disclose that behind closed doors, Walmart's officials were more frank about the reasons the company was downsizing. Company cited the district's minimum wage at $11.50 an hour and probably going to $15 an hour. He cited the proposal for legislation requiring DC employers to pay into a fund for family and medical leave for employees, and another effort to require a minimum amount of hours for workers. All of these combined make it infeasible to open these 2 stores. 300 jobs would have gone to the residents of this area. But thanks to the left's stupid economic policies, the hundreds of jobs that would have paid $7.25 an hour and up are gone. Hundreds of people in DC's inner cities that would have had work would now make nothing. Other than left-wing dialogues like the Washington Post and the Democratic politicians, who are the policies helping? Trying to pay unskilled labor $15 an hour so that the people can support their family does nothing but hurt the very people you're trying to help. And we've seen this over and over and over again. People that do get these raises end up asking their boss for fewer hours so they don't lose their Section 8 housing. Muriel in the chat room says, I find it hard to swallow that someone unskilled can get $15 an hour while skilled people can't make that much. I've seen job advertisements for people with bachelor degrees, and they only want to pay these people $8 to $10 an hour. Indeed, the problem comes not with the $15 an hour for these floor-sweeping, ignorant high school dropouts that Walmart would hire. The problem is, it's the supervisors that would be watching these people are currently making $11 or $12 an hour. Now, when you bring new people in at the very bottom at 15, now you've got to give the supervisors a raise to 18, which is what the managers are making. Now the managers got to get a raise to 25. Do you see how this rolls uphill? I challenge you to find one time when the government stuck their nose into economics of private business and solved a problem. They don't solve problems because there are always unintended consequences, such as the Cash for Clunkers program a couple of years ago. You recall this. Go buy a new car, turn in your old clunker to the junkyard that will scrap it. And you'll get, what was it, $3,000. Well, that worked out well for people that were getting ready to buy a new car anyway. They got more for the car than they would have selling it or trading it in. But it hurt the people at the bottom of the food chain. The people that can't afford to go buy a new car, they go to the used lot to buy used cars, and all of a sudden there's a dearth because people aren't trading their used cars in. No, they're taking them to the junkyard. These cars are being crushed. So now there are no used cars on the market, or there's a serious shortage thereof. So the poor people couldn't buy used cars, which made the shortage, drove the price of the used cars up. Now you're paying twice as much for a used car as you would have without the cash for clunkers. And some people can't afford that, so they're riding buses. Some people trying to make their old cars work better. They used to go to the junkyard to buy parts for these old cars. But these cars weren't taken in to be dismantled. They had to be crushed in order for you to get your $3,000. So there's all the spare parts being crushed. Now the person that bought the new car got $3,000, but the auto dismantlers took it in the shorts. They didn't have these cars coming in to be dismantled. They used to pay $100, maybe $200 to come pick up your car, and they would dismantle it, and they'd sell it pieces at a time. A door for $25, a windshield for $15, a carburetor for $20. And they'd make their money this way. So that's another business that's hurt. And then there's the used car dealers that didn't have the used cars coming in to sell. The government can't manage the tasks that they're required to do, like defend the country, run a post office. They've got no business sticking their nose into economic policies. And every time they raise the minimum wage jobs disappear. So the people that are already working there, they may get a raise, but now they've got to do the work of two people. Minimum wage increases have always hurt the people at the lower income levels. They get laid off because a boss can't afford 5 people at $15 an hour, so 2 of them end up losing their jobs. Well, that worked out well for them, didn't it? They go down the street to get a job and they can't hire them either because they're already having to pay their current employees $5 an hour more than they were 6 months ago. Richard in the chat room says minimum wage. Yeah, that's more like it. Muriel in the chat room, you're right, but the loans still need to be paid. Yes, so these skilled people need not only to live on low pay, but they also need to have a good size. They also have a good size bill that has to be paid on top of the utilities and stuff. Yes, luring people into buying cars with the cash for clunkers wasn't a good thing for them either. Not only that, it also hurt the new car dealers. Because getting $3,000 for your car wasn't a real reason to go buy a new car. All they did was get the people in January that were going to buy a car sometime in February, March, April, maybe May. So they front-loaded a whole bunch of sales. But the new car dealers, they took a nosedive in sales over the next several months because all the people had come in early. They came in before their scheduled time to buy a car to take advantage of the $3,000. Muriel in the chat room, an incentive like $15 an hour is just another way to stop people from desiring more education and skills. It's just another way to keep people happy with their lot. Because you can be sure when unskilled people are making a lot of money, rents and utilities will go up along with things like consumer goods. Exactly. Minimum wage jobs weren't meant to raise a family on. Minimum wage jobs are a place to start. You go to your minimum wage job. You make a few dollars. You go to night school. You learn some classes. You work some extra hours and show your boss some initiative. You show them that you can do more than minimum wage work. People that can do more than minimum wage work make more than minimum wage. I've always felt you will always be paid what you're worth. Because if you're diligent, if you show up on time, if you're sober, if you put forth the extra effort, find something to do rather than standing around, your effort will be seen and you'll be rewarded. When I was growing up, even as a teenager, and on up after I joined the Navy in my part-time evenings, weekends, I'd go in and I'd get a job. I'd get a job usually the first place I'd go. Oftentimes it was a gas station. I'd walk in and I'd say, tell you what, let me work for you for 2 weeks. I won't charge you a thing. You don't owe me a thing. At the end of 2 weeks, if you don't think I'm what you need, then you just shake my hand and send me away. And not once did I not get hired at the end of the 2 weeks. I usually got paid at the end of the 2 weeks. I was there volunteering, but because I worked and worked hard and took the initiative, I got paid for the time. I believe every time I did that. But no, people think, well, I'm going to show up, I'll be a half hour late or 45 minutes late or something, but you still owe me the time. You still owe me my money. And I want health care benefits. And I want a raise every 6 months. And I don't want to have to work on weekends. That's not the way life works, folks. You put forth the effort. You get an education. Richard in the chat room says he got fired from Rosen. Their reason, he says, and I quote, "You work too fast." I can't tell you how many times I've heard co-workers say, "Tom, slow down, you're making the rest of us look bad." And I just tell them, it's not me that's making you look bad. It's not me at all. It just doesn't make sense. So we've got two Walmarts in D.C. and one in Chinatown, Los Angeles, all closing for the same reason. The $15 for the union-led Fight for 15 minimum wage movement in Los Angeles. Walmart was demonized on giant banners proclaiming Walmart wages war on workers. Walmart wages war on planet Earth. But after succeeding in pushing through a minimum wage that was set to start at January 1st at $10 an hour and jumps to $15 an hour next year, unions and liberals had begun to panic that spiking wages might actually cause the 15% rate of unemployment among those with high school diplomas or less. You think? You're putting the very people you're trying to help out of a job. The Nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office's most recent in-depth analysis on minimum wage hikes estimated Obama's proposed federal minimum wage increase from $7.25 to $10 an hour would raise wages for 16 to 24 million people. But it would also kill 500,000 jobs. 500,000 jobs. Unbelievable. And let's see, what do we got next? One more before we go to our next break. Portland, Oregon. If there is a center of stupidity in this country, Portland just may be it. Portland Community College to host a month of solving the issue of whiteness. You have to solve the problem of being whiteness? Why? Why? Because more white people are in school? Because there aren't enough white people in prison? What's the problem with being white? I know Black Lives Matter. Not to me. Not to me at all. To me, what matters is what a person does, not a person of any color whatsoever. I couldn't give a rat's ass what color somebody is. If they can't show some self-respect and some respect for fellow man, they don't matter to me. But scheduled for the month of April, the project Whiteness History Month, Context, Consequences, and Change. It's a multidisciplinary district-wide education project examining race and racism through an exploration of the construction of whiteness, its origins, and heritage. This from an online statement that has been scrubbed from the web. Scheduled for the month of April, the project seeks to inspire innovative and practical solutions to community issues and social problems that stem from racism. Now, I'm sorry, but the only racism that I've seen in the last couple of years have been black students putting no whites allowed on bathroom, or no blacks allowed on bathrooms, pretending that whites are being racists. We've covered a dozen stories in the last year of fake racism where a black person is pretending that white racism exists. The only racism that I've seen has been from the government, President Obama, the Attorney General Eric Holder, and them fanning the flames in places like Baltimore, in Ferguson, Missouri. The only racism I've seen has been from Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton, stirring up hatred. The only racism I've seen has been from Jada Smith and Will Smith, crying that there isn't enough black representation at the Oscars. Now we have to send out invites so that more black people are members of the Oscars. Why not just let the performance do the trick? Now we have to have Best Actor in a Black category. What a bunch of crap. This whole politically correct, you have to have a certain number of black presenters, a certain number of black actors, a certain number of black musicians or screenwriters. The whole concept that a race of people has to have X number of slots for anything is about the biggest racist bullshit that I've seen in ages. Jada Smith complaining that an industry that has allowed her to be on the screen and make millions of dollars, complaining of racism. There have been a few people, a few black artists, directors, and so forth that have come out and said it's not a big deal. I believe Ice-T was behind was a power broker of some sorts in the Out of Compton movie that was expected to get an Oscar nod but didn't get nominated. He said, it's the Oscars, what are you going to do? The movie was a hit, people paid to see it, he made money. I believe it was the director of the Boys to Men or Wild Boys or something, another black director, said it's not a big deal. Stop screaming that there's not enough black in this and not enough black in that. That's Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton. You cry that there's not enough black people and they'll pay you money to shut up and go away. And that's what this is. Black activists crying there's not enough black representation at the Oscars. So now they're going to start sending out invites to the black community to join the Oscars so you can vote, diluting down the actual people that are involved in the process, to stir up some unnatural reflection of their performance. If you have to do something other than judge a movie on its quality and on its appeal, on its talent, if you have to do anything other than that, then you're losing any real value to getting an Oscar. An Oscar in 2018 might be like winning a Nobel Peace Prize, because you don't have to do anything to get it. You can have a crappy movie, but if you're black, well, we got to give these out to somebody. You might as well take one. I'm going to take a quick break here, pay some bills, and catch up on what's going on in the chat room. It's been a little active. I welcome Muriel, our new chat room semi-regular. Missed you yesterday, Muriel. Maybe you thought we took Martin Luther King Day off. No, we only take real holidays. Real holidays are Christmas and Easter, President's Day, such as this. Those days we take off. We don't take fake holidays. We'll be right back, folks. Stick around. Got more coming up right after this. Can you believe it? Sarah Palin endorsed Donald Trump. Oh, huge, huge news. That's huge, folks. Huge. Stick around.
It's that time again. It's what you've been dreading all year. It can be confusing, difficult, even painful. It has driven countless people to worry and to despair. It's something you hate, but something you have to do. It gets under your skin, and it can get you in over your head. It is income taxes. Now it is easier. It is faster. It can make you happy. It is less expensive than H&R Block and TurboTax. It will get you your biggest refund faster. It starts free. It is efile.com. efile.com. We make income taxes fast and easy.
How's it going, JR fans? Nick Libretti here, and today we're smoking the Oliva Cane Daytona. Another home run from the Oliva Company. Guys, this is the Cane Daytona. Medium to full body Nicaraguan smoke, Habano wrapper on it, burns really, really nice. Hints of coffee, really, really creamy, flavorful smoke. This thing changes flavors on me 4 or 5 times throughout the cigar. It's excellent. 3 words I would use to describe this thing: impeccable, complex, and out of this world. That's more than 3 words. Stop counting. We have 3 sizes, everything from a 46 to a 60 ring gauge. Get them right now at jrcigars.com.
Hi there, my name is Mark Cranenberg and welcome to my kitchen. Today we're going to talk about my favorite order from Chicago Steak Company. It's the Classic Crime Assortment. Alright, well let's open up and have a look what's inside. So right away we've got 2 6-ounce filet mignons. If you know anything about steak, it's really rare to see filet mignons with that kind of marbling in it. Just beautiful steak. And then next we've got the 2 12-ounce USDA prime strip steaks. Just look at how thick these things are. They're just beautiful. Again, beautifully marbled, amazing steak. Then we've got 2 USDA prime ribeyes. And if you like steak that is just mouth-watering, this is the steak for you. With all that marbling inside, you'll see it's thicker. The marbling is a lot thicker. That just means more moisture throughout your steak. Now we've got 6 USDA prime top sirloin steaks. These are the steaks that everyone's going to love. Then we're moving into our next package. Next, we have 16 4-ounce gourmet Angus steak burgers. These are amazing burgers that everyone's going to love. And to top it all off, they give you one container of my favorite steak seasoning of all time, the Chicago Steak Spice. And you're going to love it too. So there you have the classic prime assortment, my favorite and your ultimate steak experience. So be sure to order your steak today at mychicagosteak.com. I'm Mark. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and we'll see you next time at mychicagosteak.com.
Tom O'Halloran has a not-so-common core spelling lesson for the Obama administration. Ready? There is no K in America.
There's kids that can't pray in school, $100 tanks of gas. I can tell you right now, this country ain't supposed to be like that. No, that ain't my America. That ain't this country's roots. You wanna slam, hold on to Sam, but I ain't letting you. Yeah, I'm mad as hell, and you know I still bleed red, white, and blue. They ain't us, and that ain't my America. Oh no, that ain't my America. No, 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 no. That ain't my America. Oh no.
No, it ain't my America. Hasn't been for a real long time. We're hoping Donald Trump's going to fix that. In the meantime, I'm actually going to stay on this racism thing for just another minute. I do have another story I want to cover, and we may or may not get to it. But this whole racism thing, I've actually had it with blacks that whine about racism. There are more black millionaires today in America than there have ever been. There are more black CEOs. There are more black lawyers. There are more black doctors in this country than there have ever been. The opportunity for blacks has never been greater, and I mean anywhere in the world. Nowhere do blacks have the opportunity to go to school in some of the best colleges. There are scholarship funds that are just for blacks, which is about as racist as it gets. Try going to one of the black colleges if you're not black. Try starting a white college that doesn't allow blacks. For the black people in America who start their chants Black Lives Matter and kill the police, you don't deserve the air that you are breathing. If you want respect, you need to respect yourself. I know plenty of black people, and every one of them has a job. They raise a family, which they don't talk about my baby mama. They talk about my wife. The blacks I know are both laborers and managers. They are business people and lawyers. They have self-respect. They respect others. They respect the police. And to a person, they are ashamed of everything that Obama has done. They are ashamed of everything the Democrat Party has done over the decades to keep the black community on welfare, in public housing, and in prison. When a black person steps off the plantation, the Democrats, as somebody pointed out in the chat room a few minutes ago, I believe it was Muriel, they're called Uncle Tom. Anytime you stand out and you tell people to pull yourself up, to get off welfare and to get a job, you called an Uncle Tom. When you join the military as more than a toilet scrubber, you rise up through the ranks like Colonel Allen West. You're called an Uncle Tom. Meanwhile, Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, Eric Holder, President Obama pour gas on the flames of racism, the flames they actually started. You see, I know racism. My daddy was a racist. I don't care who you go to school with or who you're friends with, but I don't want you bringing them around here. We actually moved from Detroit when I was a puppy because it was getting too dark, as he said. We moved to Sacramento, California. We stayed there for about 6 or 8 years until it started getting too dark. There were several race fights in my high school, so we packed up and headed for the hills. No, some of his argument was valid. I mean, blacks against white fights in school. But his whole, I don't want you to bring any of them here, is a racist thing. To take the family and run to a safe neighborhood is one thing. But to tell your son not to bring them around is a bad thing. Well, see, my generation all got that. Most of my friends, my colleagues that are my age, our parents were like that. But also most of us put it behind us. Most of us moved on away from that. We had friends, close friends. I married outside of my race both times. My kids both have black godparents. And I've always had black friends that my daddy wouldn't allow me to have around. So I know what racism is. But we haven't seen it in this country for a couple of decades at least. Very little bits here and there, but it wasn't, and nothing like we had in the 60s before the whole civil rights thing. Nothing like it. Until Obama got in office. And then he and Jesse Jackson constantly stirring up controversy. Every time a black person is shot by a white person, in comes Al Sharpton, Jackson Holder, the whole grievance crowd flying in, getting in front of the microphones, trying to stir up the flames of hatred. And these are the same people that stir up the protests over Walmart. And now they're hurting the very people that they're trying to help by putting them out of jobs. I got a couple other stories. We're going to carry them over and we'll talk about them tomorrow, my friends. That's the show for today. God bless you and yours, America. This is Tom O'Halloran. I'm out. Shout out to the chat room. I do appreciate it every time you're in. Jane, glad to see you come back. Muriel, I hope to see you regularly. Folks, we'll see you tomorrow morning.